welcome back. Hopefully things are online, working. We're probably going to drop frames because the wonderful world of the internet. My on-screen chat's messed up too. Lovely. That's what happens when you try to fix things, apparently. Oof, man, it is getting hit hard. Hopefully this will work okay for you guys. I don't know. It's not looking good. Not looking good. I'm dropping 1/3 of my frames. Oof. Let me know how bad it is. I'm dropping like 40%. That's not good. We might have to just call it quits and start over or something. I thought my wireless would work better than this. It worked better before. What happened? Move the stuff in the room where the computer is. That'd be a good one. That would be hilarious. Alright, it might be leveling out. Maybe if I don't touch anything, we'll be okay. Maybe. Nope, there we go, touching things. Alright, well, we're going to try and do this regardless of interwebs working great or not. It looks like it's slowly stabilizing. Alright, so broccoli and cheddar soup is what we are here to make. We're going to get things started. I kind of did some prep work beforehand so that all of our ingredients are pretty much ready to go. So, first things first. Nothing is complete without bacon, right? So lots of bacon going in there. That's about 4 strips of thick cut bacon. It's bacon! Alright, so we're going to put that in our pot. We're going to get things going. Let's turn that on about medium heat and get it moving. Let's get to it. Get to it. Alright, so that's going to get going, and then we got some other things to get ready. I have onions all cut up, ready to go in. Those will be next. They will be taking a nice bath of butter. Nice butter bath there. Later we'll be adding cream cheese, and we will be adding salt and pepper, which has already kind of mixed itself up. How dare it mix on its own. And we got some heavy cream in this bowl. I'm not going to mess with yet. Oh, garlic's going to be going. We got some minced garlic in here that will be going in with the onion after the onion's gone a little bit. But so while this starts cooking, we do have a couple more things that I need to prep. I need to get broccoli ready, and I need to get the cheese ready. The best way to do cheese for this, for someone who's doing keto, is to shred your own cheese. So we got a nice block there because that will be the least amount of carbs. Usually, like this says, 0 carbs on it, but it all cheese and things tend to have trace carbs, they call them. So we'll do what we gotta do. We got a nice bag of broccoli here, about 4 cups worth, probably approximately 12 ounces. I don't know. I just remember my thing said 4 cups of broccoli. So we're gonna bring this broccoli over here where you guys can see it, because I'm nice like that. Alright, let's see here. Just a minute. Alright. Broccoli. So broccoli will go in before cheese, so we'll get finished prepping that first. Just nice and big chunks. I mean, we don't want them, we don't want it to be fully diced, but we want to make sure we don't have super jumbo florets. Nice small florets. You love broccoli. Broccoli, celery, gotta be VeggieTales. So other than the weird drop-in issues we had there at the beginning, how are things working now? Are they going alright? Does everything sound okay? I guess the big difference is I'm trying to use my computer instead of my wife's computer that I used last time. And I'm hoping my computer can get the job done, because then you get all the fancy notifications and dice and alerts and things happening. Things look good. Okay, so it's just some sort of stabilization issue. And maybe if I wasn't rushing things, my computer would have been A-okay. A-okay. Getting nice chunks of broccoli. I hope you don't mind me singing every once in a while. My wife, or as we like to call her, Mrs. Booyaa, decided to watch one of my other cooking videos we did. And she likes it. She likes the cooking. So occasional buffer for about a second. Okay, well, better than it could be. But if the cooking segments are going to become a regular, I will be sure to get a cable or something. I'm going to rinse the broccoli off my hand. Audio sound good too? I know you sing during every stream. Why sound out? Right? So I got my fancy microphone instead of a laptop microphone going. So hopefully that's actually producing good sound. We can throw that bag away. I try to put everything else into containers so I'm not being wasteful by throwing things away. I don't like having to throw too much stuff in the garbage, so instead I get to use water and soap and clean everything out later and hope that the smell of onion comes off of glass. I at least made sure that one was in glass. No one wants onion in their plastic containers. So yeah, I think I have a cable that would work, but I don't have any ends on it. So either I need to see if that cable's long enough and have somebody put ends on it, which I think I know some people that can do that for me, or just buy one. They are a lot cheaper than they used to be. That's the good news. It used to be to get like a 50-foot cable would cost you like $100 or something like that, something crazy. Nowadays, pretty inexpensive. Just run a cable all the way from my living room into the kitchen. There's not really a great way to get it in here other than across all the floor, though. I don't know. Could find ways to install it if I really wanted, but that involves extra work. You asked about the audio. I think it's good. I can hear the sizzle of the bacon. I can hear the chopping, but it's not too loud. All right, good. That is good. All right, so previously I've been using mild cheddar in this soup, but I do not have any, or medium. I think they call it medium. Hi, that looks good. It's just bacon right now, so it looks amazing, right? So this time I'm using sharp because I didn't have any medium cheddar in my fridge. Apparently I did not buy the medium cheddar, so we're going with the sharp. Done it with sharp before. I prefer sharp cheeses compared to my wife, so usually I try to mild things out a little bit. But welcome, DJ. Good to see you. Welcome. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I've also decided that I'm going to start expanding my horizons, or whatever you want to call it. Had a business meeting with my wife. We were discussing trying to get things going in other places as well. So I now have a Kent Says Booyaa Twitter, a Kent Says Booyaa Instagram, which I don't know how often I'll use Instagram. When I do recipes, maybe I'll have to post my pictures of the food on Instagram. But I don't know how much that one will get used. Twitter will just basically be another way of notifying you that there's a stream happening and all that fun jazz. Also, I realized that this is going to become a regular thing. I either need to switch my camera to the other side or turn that light off and get a different light over this way. I'm noticing it freaking out. Just a minute. If I turn that light off, that's better. There's a light above the stove that gives better light. We'll do that. Alright, bacon is working its way. Good observation. I just noticed it looked like it was going in and out of focus way too much. And my laptop webcam is not as good as my streaming webcam that I normally use. So, just noticing things like that. Alright, so the bacon, you want that to go till it's crisp. I prefer soggy bacon in normal situations, but in this situation, you want soggy bacon. Or not soggy, crisp bacon. Blah, blah, blah. Get the crisp bacon. It'll be soft once it's in the soup, but you want it fully cooked so it's not, like, tough to chew. You know what I mean? You don't want to have to sit and chew on your soup for too long. That's not a good soup. Alright, I'm going to move the broccoli off to the side. Get a nice fancy dancy plate here. I don't know why it's dancy, but crispy bacon, color equals flavor. I don't know, like I said, I like it. I like my bacon to be a little floppy. Now, if you're feeling particularly greasy, you could probably keep this bacon grease in here, but I find that it ends up being a little too much for my taste and palate and stomach. So we'll end up needing to dump the bacon grease after it's done. Throw the bacon. Throw the cooked bacon onto paper towel. That's looking pretty darkish, so that means it should be pretty well done to be crisp when it dries out. So I'm going to throw this off to the side here. I know you can't see it off to the side, but it's just going on a paper towel. Nothing too fancy about that. Get off the pot. Alright, slowly but surely we'll scoop it all out. Don't burn yourself. Don't pour this bacon grease directly into a source of meltage. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of this bacon grease real quick. Alright, mostly gone, good enough. Bacon is one of those I have in any form. Oh, Brutal's very hungry! And CT2's getting hungry. Just make this along with me. Alright, we made 4 slices of bacon. We have 4 tablespoons of butter, which apparently it's gotten very soft sitting out. 4 tablespoons of butter going in the pot. Probably turn our temperature down a little bit. Butter browns up a little bit more than you want it to if you keep it too high. So we're going to go kind of a medium-low-ish heat. Could I check out your drawings? Very possibly. If they're on Discord, I'll probably see them. Alright, get our butter melted down there and toss in your onion. Onion! Another thing that my wife does not care for, but as long as it's cooked down good enough, you hardly know it's there. You don't really taste that much. Just got to make sure you cook it all the way down. I didn't separate all the pieces, so I'm jabbing at it with my spoon. Make sure all the pieces get separated and you can cook through. You don't want to cook them too fast because then they'll start to burn. You want them to be nice, soft, translucent onions. Look at this, nice. Alright, so I'm going to start shredding this cheese because it's going to take a little bit of time. It's 8 ounces of cheese. Normally I get the medium cheddar in a 1 pound block. This time I got an 8 ounce block of sharp cheddar, so I just got to shred the whole thing. you got a little bit of time left here because the onion's got to go, then the garlic's got to go, and then you got to add some chicken broth. Or if you're going the vegetarian route, of course you could cut out the bacon and use veggie broth instead of chicken broth. But if you're a vegetarian on keto, good luck. Good luck. Alright. This sharp cheddar's been in my fridge probably a little longer than it should have. No mold, so essentially it's just aged sharp cheddar, right? It was in its package, never been opened, no mold. It was just trying to crumble on me. Makes it a little bit tougher to shred when it's trying to crumble up. Now I've done this soup with bigger shreds. This is kind of a fine shredder. I think the fine shredded is the preferred version when it comes to getting it to melt into your soup good. But as long as you don't rush things too quickly, it should be all good either way. I don't know what that song was. It sounded like a mix of something and Digimon, but shout out if you remember Digimon. Alright, onion looks like it's almost cooked good. Let's see what we got going here. There's a little bit more time. We do not need to add time to this. I'm just saying time is in a measurement of the day. I do. Alright. Probably close enough now. We can add our garlic. I use pre-minced garlic, so it goes in a little bit later. It's already pretty soft. If you mince up your own garlic, it could probably go in about the same time, if not slightly after the onion, and that should give you about the same results in terms of getting it roasted a little bit in the butter, getting it soft and delicious and delectable. Alright, I need a measuring spoon. That's what I forgot. Or not spoon, cup. Measuring cup, not spoon. Alright, so we need, now that the onion is cooked through and the garlic's in, cooked a little bit, giving off a little bit of its garlicky smell, we add our chicken broth. We need 6 cups. So we had approximately somewhere between 40 to 50 grams of onion. You can use a small onion if you're going for the same amount of onion as I'm using. Too much onion adds too many carbs when you're on keto, but it's decent enough that's not a huge issue. So you got about 50 grams of onions and a teaspoon of minced garlic. Nathan Wolfer just joined Team Booyaa. Who's awesome? Nathan's awesome. Thank you, Nathan. I know you. At least I'm fairly certain I do. I posted to my Facebook so that people could follow me there too. Alright, so 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, or 2 cloves. And then we need 6 cups of chicken broth. 1 box is about 4 cups. So we're going to bump that up with 2 more cups from here. And when your chicken broth's going in, you can pump up the heat. Start getting that to a boil. We want a lovely boil going. So that'll take a minute. I'm dropping my hand drying towel here. Alright, so we'll bring that to a boil. And then we will add our broccoli. If you remember, 4 cups of broccoli. Or if my rememberings are correct, that would be about 12 ounces of broccoli, if you're weighing it. And like I said, have it chopped up into smaller florets. Throw it in the sink. No, we're not going to throw it in the sink. Have it chopped up into smaller chunks. Not only will it be easier to eat, but your cheese will not clump on it as easily. I mean, it's good to have a little bit of cheese clumped on broccoli, because who doesn't love cheese on broccoli? But you want your shredded cheddar cheese to be able to melt down. I just realized, I think the webcam is trying to make the cheese disappear based on the chroma color. The shadows from the cheese is apparently greenish. That's funny. That's good stuff. Alright, so now the slow wait. We cooked our bacon, onion, garlic, chicken broth, got our cheese shredded, broccoli ready. We have 1 ounce of cream cheese that will be going in with the cheddar cheese. I guess we can add our salt and pepper now while we wait. The salt, in theory, should help it come to a boil faster, but I don't think it helps that much. We got 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Yeah, I think it's just the chroma key thing going with the green. Somehow the shadows of the orange are turning green. But oh well, you live, you learn. Maybe if cooking becomes a big enough segment in our thing, I'll have a second webcam, and I don't need to have it set for a green screen. Alright, so 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. If you want more, you can add more. Do keep in mind that pepper does add carbs if you're doing keto style stuff, but not too bad. I usually add extra salt and pepper after it's cooked as well, rather than into the entire pot. So this comes to a boil. Broccoli will go in as long as you need your broccoli to cook to make it tender. Usually that's somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what state it's starting in. Normally I've started with frozen broccoli. This broccoli has had a chance to thaw. It is still frozen broccoli, but it is thawed, so it will cook a little bit faster because it's not going from frozen. So, who all is planning to cook broccoli cheddar soup? Who all is getting super duper hungry? I was discussing this stuff with my wife, with getting the cooking stuff going and whatnot, and we came up with a great thing for the intro slide, but it was after I already made it, and I didn't have time to mess with it anymore because I just made it today. I need to add a chef hat to my 8-bit character so that we can have a chef Kent says booyah. You're liking it? Super! Well, if you're liking it, you should make sure you've hit that like button. That like button is greatly appreciated and definitely helps. Helps out the stream, helps other people find us in all the ways possible. So if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Do it now! Just thinking to myself, thinking to myself. Alright. Bum 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 ba-dum. 2 booyah likes. I realize there's another light right there that's but if I block it from the camera, it blocks it from me too, so it kind of makes me too dim. Too dim. Guess I could turn. Your like has disappeared. Oh no! Redo! Redo! Also, I'm working on a Katie. Oh, this is awesome. Hey guys, what's up, Katie? Welcome. You've missed the first part, but you can always go back in time eventually. So I'm working, we got a glass top stove, and one thing you learn really quickly with a glass top stove is things cook slower in terms of getting to temperature. So like bringing this to a boil takes much longer than most stoves that I've used. Like the coil top stoves. I've never really used a flame top open flame stove, but I can guarantee an open flame will get things going hotter faster. But once it's come to heat, it is very consistent and very good heat. So at least it's got that going for it. I know how to work with it once it stabilizes. Doing pretty good, Katie. How are you doing today? How do you do? I'm happy to have this computer running things. I don't like the fact that I'm still on wireless right now, but at least I can have all the extra stuff work. Booyaa Master is still working in the background, so all good there. Not too shabby. Alright, we're about at a simmer. I'm going to call that close enough to a boil for broccoli to go in. Broccoli, celery, sang this song before VeggieTales. I don't know if you've ever heard of VeggieTales before. That is a show that I watched as a child. Don't currently watch. It's a good boil. It's a good simmer. Slightly under the boil mark. Starting to bubbly. You can see Kent's house. You can see some of it, but not all of it. Alright, broccoli mingling in. You're alright, a little meh, but this too shall pass. Good. I'm glad that the meh will pass. Hopefully being here will bring you some extra cheer. Anyways, don't watch the Netflix version of VeggieTales is what I've been told. I've never tried, but I heard it's terrible. It is not the same. I already know it's not the same by the animation, but in case you're into all things veggie. A good enough boil. Yes, 'twas good enough boil. Good enough. So once your broccoli's gone in, bring it back to a full boil. If you let it get to a full boil, it might stay a full boil, but I was hasty. And I'm going to put what's left of the chicken broth I didn't need into the fridge. So yeah, like I said, once that's come to a boil, you got to boil for about 5-ish minutes. It's almost boiling. I'll set a timer for 6 now, so don't forget to set a timer, because I'm good like that, forgetting things like timers. And then you can always check it with a fork. I'll probably not check it with a fork. Rolling boil is the best of all boils. Yes. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. I mean, the good thing is if you undercook your broccoli a little bit at this stage, it'll be made up for by the fact that you still have to add in the cheeses and it's still going to have time to cook a little bit longer. Not a lot because you turn down the heat, so it's not a full boil anymore, but it'll still get its finished cooking going, whatevering. Can't words right now. What's the thing on the left? The yellow thing. This is cheese. So I noticed that the shadowing of the cheese, my camera that's pointing down is my good webcam that I use for streaming when I'm playing video games. And it's set with a chroma key so that my green screen behind me disappears. Well, apparently the shadows from the cheese are kind of getting to that shade where it wants to cut it out. So that's why it looks so weird. I always like your broccoli al dente. Yeah, that's the way we usually do it too. So it's got a little bit of a bite. It's not a soggy, complete mush. But you don't want it to be raw. That's just weird. May look blue as well. Yeah, I can't see exactly what it's doing. It's kind of doing a grayish thing on my screen, but I'm looking at a... Well, I guess you might be watching on a cell phone. I was going to say, I'm looking at a much smaller screen the way I have things set up, but not too bad. Hey, my restream chat viewer numbers works correctly again. With that in note, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It'd be greatly appreciated. Helps boost the stream, helps people find it. These food streams are something a little bit different. We had a little rough start getting things going, so hopefully that deter too many people, make them leave, because it did not want to start up properly. Like I said, I'll probably look into getting an actual wire that goes all the way from the modem to my kitchen so that we can have a steady, reliable internet source instead of wireless. Broccoli plus cheese equals soup. At least it looks like soup on my screen. It actually looks like a bowl of something with meats and an egg in it. This shows through the ceiling behind. At first when I thought it had mold. Oh, that's what it is. It's the ceiling behind it. That I got you now. That's the color. Okay. I'm picking up what you're laying down now. That's funny. I have the max amount of light on the stove right now. I can't get any more light on the stove. Not as of right now. Not unless I buy some fancy lighting kits. Let's focus on the internet part first. My timer says we have about 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the clock. That piece looks bigger than I want it to be. We'll just try to pop it apart with a spoon. Now, if you're like me, I prefer all broccoli florets. But this does work with just normal broccoli cuts, which might give you smaller pieces to begin with. But I prefer not eating all stem. The soup emoji I didn't want to use. That's alright. The emojis appear differently on my screen too. I see what you see on your on-screen chat, but what appears in the YouTube chat sometimes is a little bit different because different sources translate the emojis differently. You'll notice I always have a controller and a joystick on my video game ones so that you can find them a little bit differently. It's a little bit different than just any other YouTube video. And the controller will look different based on which source you're looking at it on. Sometimes it looks like an Xbox controller, sometimes it looks like a Super Nintendo controller. Neckos, what's up? Green tree. Many green trees. Many green trees. One of those is spelled different than the other. Dun 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 dun. We're almost there. The broccoli is almost cooked through enough. Cooked through enough. Nothing too much. How about moi? Not much going on here. I managed to fit in 2 streams today. 1 video game and 1 cooking. Oh, there goes the timer. Alright, so that means it is time to start adding the cheese. We're going to start with the cream cheese, which I've let soften. Soften? I don't know. Sometimes I hard pronounce that T. And I don't know what the correct way to say it is sometimes. Don't get started on how to pronounce words. One thing I've learned about cream cheese is no matter what you do with it, it still doesn't usually like to melt down the way you think it would in a soup. You almost always end up with tiny little bits. And I got a little bit on my finger. Alright. Close enough. We'll let that come to its slight simmer again. And then we're going to want to turn this down. GG, easy cut. Nice. It takes a while and uses a lot. Yes, yes it does. You follow a recipe or just adding as you go along. I have a recipe that I've altered to fit where I want it. So now I'm doing it by memory. It also helps that I prepped most of this stuff beforehand, so I don't have to worry about measurements. Alright, so there we go. Cream cheese is mostly integrated. Never perfect with cream cheese. So now we'll start adding our cheddar. Try and not drop it in too big of a clump and not too much at a time. Maybe a fourth to a third of it at a time. Add that in and stir. Is it hot in there? I bet it's not. I'm getting buffer. Uh-oh. Not the buffer. Not the buffer. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Looks like we're back to green. Back to green! Alright, so we want to keep stirring this. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. There's no perfect way to do this. In the end, odds are you'll always have clumps of cheese. It's back! The stream is back. Back again. The stream is back. Tell a friend. No, seriously, tell a friend. Share, copy the URL, send it to everyone you know. Tell them we're cooking. Cooking up something good. Time for something good. Do 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 do. Sometimes I think I should have music playing so that I don't have to try and make up my own music in the middle. But then I remember there's stuff like copyright strikes when you play music. Now I know there's music out there that you don't get copyright strikes from because it's public domain or whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. I don't feel like being like everybody else. Any salt? Yes! We had a half a teaspoon of salt go into this. A big old half teaspoon of salt. I would recommend, if you like things salty, you could probably bring it up to a full teaspoon of salt without it doing too much. You have to remember your cheese is going to make it a little saltier, especially if you're like me and you did not use medium cheddar and you're using sharp cheddar. It's going to make it have a little bit of a saltier flavor as well. And the good thing with salt is it's something you can always add later. You do want salt cooking in there because salt cooking in your food does change the way the salt flavors the food. It is best to make sure you have some salt in while cooking, but you definitely don't need all your salt in while cooking. So better to under salt than over salt. That is for certain. There is no going back from over salting something when you do it in a whole pot. Alright, we are almost there. Almost made it. I can get rid of this plate. You know what's funny? This plate has green bordering around it, or greenish bordering, and that doesn't get green screened out. How does that work? Riddle me this. Alright, I think we did a pretty good job. If I run my spoon across the bottom, we don't have a bunch of clumped up cheese on the end of my spoon. That is a good sign. A good sign, I tell you. Alright, we can turn the heat up just a little bit. We don't want to turn it up too much with that cheese in there. Things could burn. We're going to dump our crispy cooked bacon back into the pot now that everything has been cooked. Once that kind of gets close to a simmer, then we will add in the last ingredient, heavy whipping cream. Or, for you non-Americans, most of you refer to it as double cream, I believe. That is some knowledge for you. This is making me hum. Bye, guys. I'm about to go find something to eat. Alright, CT2, have a good one. Thanks for dropping by either way. Make sure it's something delicious. Or go make some broccoli cheddar soup for yourself. Good stuff. But yeah, I've watched a lot of cooking videos on YouTube. Part of how I learn how to cook things is watching other people cook things. And now you can learn to cook things by me watching other people to cook things so that I can cook things for you. But yeah, amongst that, you find people that are, I mean, they're still English speaking. I don't understand things that are not English speaking. But you learn real quickly, outside of the US of A, up in that Canada, England, things like heavy cream are called double cream. And single cream would be what we would refer to as half and half. At least that's the way I have learned. I could always still be wrong, but you know, you do what you gotta do. Pretend like you know stuff. Fake it till you make it. I don't know. Yeah, double cream we call it. Haha! See? I told you. Am I right about the single cream half and half thing? I don't know how much you know about the way America names things. We also like to put things into feet and yards. Trivial measurements. Really should some chicken broth or stock for what I'm making, but I don't, so I have to improvise somehow. Do you have a chicken? You could always make some chicken broth out of chicken bones. Make some bone broth. You could always, if you have a bunch of veggies around, just make a veggie broth. That works just as well too for most things. This doesn't need to use chicken broth, but chicken broth tends to have no carbs or trace amount of carbs when it comes to like I've iterated before. I do things keto right now. So, you have a chicken out back? A live chicken? Alright, dumping in our cream. Get that in there. Cream likes to stick to the container. Use a finger or a spatula to get it out. If you lick your finger, remember to wash it. I'm just going to wash it. A little rinse, it's just cream. Doesn't matter. Dude, we call plain flour, you call it all-purpose flour. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that either. I don't use much in terms of flour anymore unless you count fake flours like almond flour. Yeah, they just put that on the package. We just say flour. That's right. They put all-purpose flour on the package, but I just call it flour. The only time I call it different is if it's wheat flour. Alright, so that soup is pretty well done at this point. I think I'm going to let it come back to a slight simmer again. And then we'll put it in a bowl. So you can see it in all of its glory in a bowl. Granted, you're still looking straight down on it. Oh, really? Yeah. Hey, there is only one thing I have against the non-English systems of measurement, and that's when they start to determine stuff that weighs like stone. That weighs about 1 stone. What size is your stone? There's too many different sizes of stone. Other than that, I get down with it. 1,000 grams equals a kilogram. Makes sense. 0 degrees is freezing. 100 degrees is boiling. Although I think there is a purpose to the 0 and 100 for Fahrenheit. I just don't remember what it was because it's not that important. Not to everyday people. If we want to get really technical, we can always go into kelvins, right? Alright. I need... Where did I put my measuring cup? I was using a measuring cup for chicken broth, and now I don't know where I put it. Well, that's inconvenient. We'll give it a nice rinse. So the way this is made, with everything I did, if you use the exact same amount of ingredients, it should come out very, 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 very close. Evaporation aside, it should come out very close to 8 cups. And we do 2-cup servings, so it gives my wife and I 2 meals. Now, I've never really known what the correct way to scoop soup is to make sure that you get an even amount of broth and bits and all of that fun jazz. I just kind of play it by ear, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not really sure what an ear has to do with it. You know, scoop some from the bottom, scoop some from the top. That'd be 1 meal for you. You have to remember, this has cheese and cream in it. 1 whole cup of heavy whipping cream in the whole thing. Those calories add up fast. They add up very, very fast. So there you have it. Our broccoli cheddar soup. Very terrible webcam looking down on it because the lighting isn't great. And it's looking straight down. I bet if I use my phone and the flashlight, which is an LED light, I bet I can get some decent light on the top of it. If you're looking straight down. No, it just looks gray. That doesn't help anything. So we'll have to work on that. We'll have to work on a way to get better lighting for our soups. Or something. Or something. But there, yeah, it's turning gray. It's turning ceiling over here. 1 meal a day. I'm not down to 1 meal a day. I eat 2 meals a day as long as you don't count my coffee in the morning. Alright, that soup can come off the burner. We'll throw it back there. You can tell it's good. Alright, so if you're wondering the macros and whatnots on this, I'll pull that up real quick. Alright, so where are we? I plug all this stuff into MyFitnessPal for easy tracking. I'm not being sponsored. If they sponsored me, that would be great. That would be great. Alright, so 2 servings is what I mark it as, so that way I can remember each serving is a cup, but I eat 2 cups. That is my preferred amount. Like I said, this recipe makes about 8 cups. You're looking at 541 calories, unless you decide to add some extra cheese on top, which some people do. 47 grams of fat. Lots of fat going on here, but if you're on a keto diet like myself, that is preferred. 8.5 total carbs, 3.2 of it is dietary fiber, so you got 5.3 net carbs for 2 cups, and 20.6 grams of protein. If you're doing macro percentages, you're looking at 78% fat, 16% protein, 6% carbs. So very, very good for keto carbs. Sometimes it's very hard to get your actual meals, especially if vegetables are included, to fall within a good percentage ratios. And it's different for everybody in terms of what percentages you should go through. But for me, and what I've been doing, I've been trying to do 80% fat with 15% protein, 5% carbs. But the main thing is to have less than 20 net carbs per day. That is my goal, and it's been working. My body might have a hard time doing that. Yeah, it's been working for me to be on this keto diet, though. My wife was watching, like I said, the last video did, and she can already tell how much weight I have appeared to have lost since then, which means it's been a while since I've been able to do a cooking video. But just the difference between then and now, I'm down over 30 pounds since I've started my diet, which was like January 11th. So 3 months in, doing pretty good. Alright, well, I think that's all I got. If you really, really want a picture of that, you can just look at my intro again and go to the very beginning of the video. There's a nice picture of me pulling up a spoonful. I'm not going to bother with taking a new picture. I posted it on Discord before. It depends on what you adjust your body to, so I can see why you could do that since you're teaching your body to consume. Yeah, that's the thing with the keto diet, is you're teaching your body to consume fats rather than carbs as its source of energy. So, I mean, if you want to lower the fat content, use less cream, use less butter. You can always add more vegetables if you're not doing it keto, so that way you do end up getting more carbs from vegetables and you make a bigger soup. All of that can go together. I'm going to dump this bowl back in here. Actually, there's one thing I was just remembering that I forgot to add into this because it's tucked back behind my computer stuff. If you are not doing keto, you can thicken this soup up a little bit by using cornstarch. Mix a little bit of cornstarch into water. I'm not sure exactly how much, but on the keto diet, the best thing for not spiking your blood sugar, your glucose, is xanthan gum. Xanthan gum will help thicken up soups, help thicken up just about anything. I actually blend a coffee in the morning to make it a frappe, and a little bit of xanthan gum, quarter teaspoon in that, almost makes it a milkshake. Almost. But xanthan gum is also one of those things where if you use too much, you will figure it out real fast. It adds a very distinct texture and taste if you have too much. So don't use too much. Don't do it. But unlike cornstarch, you can usually put the xanthan gum in pretty late and it will kind of not solidify, thicken up as it sits, the longer it sits, rather than needing to boil like cornstarch usually does. But all right, so that I think is going to conclude the video of what's going on here. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream as we know it. The end of the food. Make sure to share, make sure to save this video if you really want some broccoli cheddar soup. If you got any ideas of ways I can improve this stream, other than of course getting Ethernet cable in here so that you know, my internet doesn't suck and buffer and stuff. Other than the internet, what are some ideas you might have to improve the stream of what's going on here with the cooking videos? Be sure to leave that in the comments down below. Be sure to hit that like button. That's always greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Enjoy your soup. I totally will. I just need my wife to get home from the gym, and then we'll be eating lovely, delicious broccoli cheddar soup. All right. You guys have a good and great day. If you're part of my gaming community, you know that we have a system called Booyaa Bucks. We hit 5 likes. For these cooking streams, I'm going to go all out and drop 100 times. So 500 Booyaa Bucks going to you that you can use for betting and whatnots in my streams and whatnots. Whatnots. I just felt like saying that word some more. So you guys have a good and great day or night, whatever it is that applies to you. As always, remember, be excellent to each other. I'll see you in my Discord. I will see you in my streams. Booyah!